Good day, Black Knight scholars. Turn to page number 8 of this Unit 1 packet. Today, we're going to be talking about modern terrorism. What is terrorism? It is the planned, purposeful use of violence and threats to intimidate and coerce. Coerce to put pressure on. Terrorism can be driven by extreme views in religion, politics, or social values. And what are the types of terrorism? Well, car bombings, suicide bombings, airline hijackings, those are 3 examples. And you see from this pie graph organized by the FBI that hijackings are very infrequent, but car bombings are most frequent. Why does terrorism occur in the first place? Well, both developed and developing nations have problems that are brought about by injustices in economies, in the treatment of cultures, and in the social order. People feel like outcasts in their country or their region. Maybe their culture is a minority. Maybe they feel that they don't have a voice, or maybe they feel that generations of their families have been poor. Some choose to deal with these unequal conditions through terrorism. Not all terrorists look like this man. It's important to remember that so that stereotypes don't start to develop in our minds. Some terrorists do look like this man. We're going to talk about both Timothy Mcveigh and Osama bin Laden today. First, September 11th, 2001. Who was involved in this terrorist attack on America? 19 terrorists from Al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden. How was this terrorist attack carried out? Well, hijacked planes. There were 4 passenger airliners that were hijacked, and they were traveling from the East Coast, United States, to California. 2 airplanes crashed into the World Trade Center in New York. 1 crashed into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and 1 crashed into a field in Pennsylvania. What was the damage done? 2,996 people died. Most of these people were civilians, citizens in the U.S. Osama bin Laden. Why did he plan 9/11? 3 major reasons. He said the U.S. should not be allies with Israel in the Middle East. Osama bin Laden also said the U.S. military has no business being in the Middle East. He also thought American culture is and was immoral. He disapproved of American culture. He thought it was ruining the world. So those are some of the reasons Osama bin Laden wanted to attack America. We moved from 9/11 to another domestic terrorist incident. It was an incident in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and it involves Timothy Mcveigh, who you saw earlier. When did it happen? April 19th, 1995. Timothy Mcveigh was a Gulf War military veteran, someone who served in our armed forces and who wanted revenge on the federal government. How did he carry out this bombing? Well, he detonated a car bomb in front of a federal building in Oklahoma City. And he placed the bomb in a Ryder truck that looks like this truck pictured. Here is a picture of the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in downtown Oklahoma City. After the bombing, you see this gaping hole in its side. What was the damage? 168 people died. 19 children under the age of 6 died in this attack. Why? There was a daycare center in this building. And you see one of the infants who was picked out of the building by a firefighter. This infant died at a local hospital, unfortunately. From Oklahoma City to a terrorist attack in Germany. Terrorism at the Munich Olympics. Where is Munich? It's in the southeast corner of Germany. And you see the front page of a British newspaper, the Munich Massacre at the Games. And this is a very famous photograph of one of the terrorists masked, overlooking a balcony at the Olympic Village in Munich. When did this happen? September 5th and 6th, 1972. Where? In Munich, West Germany. At the time, Germany was divided between East and West. How did this happen? A terrorist group named Black September from Palestine kidnapped Olympians and demanded that Israel free 234 Palestinians that were jailed in Israel. All of the Olympians that were kidnapped and killed were from the country of Israel. What was the damage? There were 17 total deaths. There were 6 Israeli coaches, 5 Israeli athletes who were killed, and 5 of the Black September terrorists also killed in a shootout. And there was 1 West German police officer who was killed in that same shootout. Israel and Palestine. This conflict goes back years and years. Here is Israel in yellow, in the center of the Middle East, and in green is Palestine. Palestine and Israel have been clashing because of land and because of different religions. Palestinians are Muslim, Israelis are Jewish. Moving on, we talked about 3 terrorism incidents, and now we're going to talk about how we should respond to modern terrorism. How has the U.S. responded to modern terrorism? Well, there have been heightened security at home, and we have increased government surveillance and the giving up of some privacy rights. And you see here our reality now. A young woman is patted down at an airport for security reasons. Is this security guard violating privacy rights? That's the question that we still are debating today. Now, out of 9/11 comes a law called the Usa Patriot Act. Now, Usa Patriot Act, it stands for Uniting and Strengthening America by providing appropriate tools required to intercept and obstruct terrorism. This bill was signed into law 1 month after 9/11. It was a response to terrorism. And it was strongly supported by political leaders in the United States. For example, 98 out of 99 US senators voted for it. And you see President George W. Bush signing this bill into law with a desk that says protecting the homeland. We wanted to prevent another September 11th terrorist attack on US soil. What does the USA Patriot Act do? Well, there are 2 major points from this act. First, it gives law enforcement power to jail citizens based on suspicion of terrorist activity without a trial by jury. It also gives law enforcement power to monitor telephone records, emails, and internet activity without court approval. Lesson 4 is drawing to a close. Once you're done with that summary question, Lesson 4 is complete for you. Mr. Deegan, signing off.